Hello everybody, this is Mommy with Flowers by the Bunch. Today I need to put together a bridal bouquet, and this one's going to be a little different than the one I did before. Yesterday on Facebook Live, I made a very vibrant colored bridal bouquet. This is going to be more whites with a touch of blush, and it's going to be more of a cascading bouquet. Now I'm going to start with an armature, and this is just a little bit of chicken wire that I am going to take. I've cut it off the roll, so it's just a small sheet. I'm going to take it and I am going to kind of make a little bit of a pillow or a form to be able to press my flowers into. What this does is it just helps me keep my bouquet from being so compact. And so I'm just taking these wires and I am twisting them together very carefully. Now let me tell you, when you use chicken wire, you have to be careful because it bites. So always be careful with it. Now there are pre-made armatures that you can buy. I think you can buy them from the craft store. You can buy them online. You can certainly buy them on Amazon. I have just found that chicken wire is pretty inexpensive and it works great for what I need it to, and it's always in the cabinet. So I have it right in the closet, so all I have to do is go grab a little tiny piece and I always have it available. So I've made kind of a long chicken wire armature. This is going to be more of a cascading bouquet, so I'm going to use it up and down instead of side to side, okay? Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my hydrangeas, and I have my picture over here on my phone. So if you see me looking on my phone, I have her inspiration picture right here on my phone. So that's the reason I'll be looking at it a little bit, just to make sure that I get it right. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my hydrangeas and I am just removing any of the foliage. All right. I'm going to start out by taking my hydrangea and just kind of tucking it down through that armature, just like that. I'm going to take my second one and I'm going to tuck it in, and I'm just kind of sliding them right into those little holes in that chicken wire. And then I'm going to take my third one and I'm going to tuck him in. So see how they're not so wadded together? They're really pretty separate. They're separate individual flowers. Now that's the main point of using an armature, is because it separates my flowers so well. Next, I'm going to come in with a little bit of white stock. So I'm just taking that bloom and I'm just stripping the foliage off, tucking that right into that armature. And it just holds it so easily. And it's pretty easy to move. If I needed to move it, I can certainly move those blooms. So what I'm doing is I'm feeding it right through the back of that wire. I want it to kind of want to dip just a little, to give us a little bit of a dip into that boat. I mean, kind of a little bit of a cascade. And this one's a little high, I think. So I'm going to move him. See, the wonderful part is you can just take them and move them and put them where they need to go. All right, so there are our stock. So I've got 3 hydrangeas and 5 blooms of white stock. Next, we're going to come in with some white peonies. So I'm just going to take and remove their foliage. And these are going to be pretty focal. We're going to kind of tuck those pretty much in that center so they're well seen. And you're just doing the exact same thing with every type of flower. You're just working it into that armature. All right, so there's our white peonies, our white stock, our white hydrangeas. Next, we're going to come in with a little bit of Lysianthus. Now, I love Lysianthus, but it's funny, not everybody does, and that's completely okay. I had a lady come in the other day and she said, oh, I don't really like that. And I thought, I think that hurt my feelings. Isn't that silly? So see how that kind of gives us a little bit of a drip there. Next, we're going to come in with some pink Mondal roses. And what I'll do is I'll show you in just a minute. I'm going to lay this down for a second. And we are going to clean up these roses. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going ahead and I am peeling back these guard petals. Anything that doesn't look pretty, go ahead and remove it. Now, it is very important when working with bridal work that you make sure those are the prettiest flowers that you have, okay? Because they're going to get photographed up close. So I'm just taking my finger and very carefully running it into these petals. I'm trying to open them up so that my rose is a little more open, okay? So I'm just taking my finger and I'm kind of running it through the petals very, very carefully. You can very easily bruise a rose, and so don't brush it like I've shown how to brush a carnation. Never brush a rose. Really don't do that to any other flower except a carnation, okay? Because a carnation is tough and their petals really don't bruise, but most all other flowers do. So I want to show you the difference. See how I've kind of opened this one, and I'm going to open this one. So I'm very carefully just kind of running my fingers into those petals, just kind of opening them up. Now, you can certainly reflex these petals if you want to. This picture doesn't have them too terribly open, but they are a little more open than these roses. So that's the reason I'm doing this. But you can reflex them if you want to. I just find they last so much longer if you don't. If you don't start pulling on those petals too much. And this picture doesn't have really, really open roses, so I'm not going to manipulate the petals too much. Okay, so I've got my roses ready. I'm gonna leave that one kind of tight. I'm gonna pick my bouquet back up. So here's my bouquet, kind of has that, that little point there. I'm gonna take my roses and I am going to take that stem and just kind of twist and turn and get it right down into that armature. Now sometimes all those stems are a little tight in there, so it may take just a little bit of work. You can see how I'm kind of just laying them around. I'm just holding them in my hand. Pull this peony up just a smidge. So you can adjust all those flowers just with your hands. Very carefully, just kind of adjust them as need be. Okay, so there's my roses in place. Next, we're gonna come in with a little bit of wax flower. Now I have white wax flower. So I'm just gonna take my wax to my arrangement. Okay, next I'm going to take my wax flower and I'm just taking some snips and I'm just going to snip some small pieces. So this picture has, I am not exactly sure the variety of filler flower that's in here, but this wax flower works pretty good. I'm going to take my snips and cut my stems off a little shorter because I'm bumping the wall behind me. So I'm just taking my snips and I trimmed up those stems, so every time I hold it down, I'm not bumping the wall behind me. So I'm just taking, let's see, I'm gonna take my wax and get that one loose. Okay, just take your wax, and I'm just, this foliage, this filler flower is pretty airy in this bouquet, so that's exactly what I'm going to do with this wax. Just lay it right around the edge and just leave it pretty airy. And I am just taking it and laying it all the way around my armature. So my armature's right here. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm just kind of laying it in my hand all the way around that armature. All right, next we're going to come in. I want a little bit in here because it's kind of, you can see it's all the way around, but there's none kind of deep into the bouquet. So I'm going to take another little piece. And I'm going to kind of work that right down into that armature. Just so that it's kind of in the center also, so it looks the same all the way through. Okay, next we're going to come in with a little bit of foliage. So the foliage that I've chosen is this willow eucalyptus, and this is really going to help us with our drip on this bouquet to give us a little bit more of a cascade. Now, her picture does not show a whole lot of foliage, so I'm not going to go crazy with this foliage. Not quite as crazy as I did yesterday on my video yesterday, but I was also copying a picture yesterday, and so you just kind of do what they want. Okay, so you can see how that foliage is kind of moving. Now next I'm going to come around the back side here. It's going to be short, so it's not really going to show too much when I put the foliage on the back side here. I'm going to actually just take it and cut it short. And I'm really just camouflaging my armature. It's always important that you cover those mechanics. And so mechanics include any kind of wire, any kind of tape, anything like that. It's really important that that doesn't show. So that's why I am adding this eucalyptus to the back side. Now you can see it's not meant to really be seen as much as it's meant to just kind of cover. I am going to go, my hand is getting tired, so I'm going to go ahead and tape off this bouquet. And then I'm going to come all the way around with more greenery, a little more foliage. So I'm going to grab my tape. There it is. And so this is a waterproof tape. And I like to use it instead of wire or any kind of bind wire or any kind of little rope or anything like that. I just find that the waterproof tape works well. It holds really tightly and it's very easy to cut off if I need to. So I'm just taking this and taping it right now so that it's easier to hold. If I need to cut it off, I can. All right, so there is kind of my cascade there. So you can kind of see it kind of comes down in a point. I am needing another Lysianthus, I think, up here. You see how I don't have kind of that, I have a void here. And then I'm going to come around, I can still see my wire here. So I'm going to come around, I'm going to grab some more foliage and just add just a little bit of a ring of foliage around the back. Give me just one moment and let me go grab that. All right, to finish off this bouquet, I grabbed some Floral or some lemon leaf. I grabbed a couple more stems of Lysianthus and then a couple of stems of Scabiosa. Now this white Scabiosa is so pretty and such a pretty texture that I thought maybe we could tuck a couple of stems of this Scabiosa in. We're going to basically do exactly what we did before, and it's okay if it doesn't hit the armature. It's okay because we're going to tape it all together anyway. So I'm just taking these stems and I'm working them. I'm going to use these hydrangeas as my armature. All right, I love the Scabiosa. It gives us just a different texture. Kind of worked in there. Okay, next we're going to come in. I think I need a little more wax right here. So you can see how sometimes you have to walk away and look at it to see what else it needs. When you come back, you can say, oh, yep, it needed that. Okay, next what I'm going to do to cover up all this backside, because it does need camouflage there, I'm going to take my Floral and I'm going to just lay it right here on the back side. I'm just going to cover all of my mechanics. So I'm really basically just going to take this Floral And I am going to go all the way around to make sure that I cover any of that wire. And honestly, nobody's gonna see that except her, because it's really just on the back side, except my bride. It's really just on the back side. But it's so, so, so important to take that extra step and make sure that it's finished. All right, so we are going to add some more tape to finish this off. Oh, I think that did it. That's what I needed. Okay, now I'm going to take my tape and I'm going to tape it again. And then I will show you our finished product. So I'm just taking that tape. And sometimes this is a two-man job, but I think I got it. So I'm going all the way around this bouquet with this tape. And just be sure that it's well taped. I'm going to trim some of these stems with my snips. All right. I'm going to cut them again. But there is our bridal bouquet. And I will stand back, I'm gonna look at it and make sure I'm gonna get one of the girls to hold it for me. And if it needs to be adjusted, and this is the time that you can adjust it. And then how I will finish this, I'm gonna show you how to finish it real quick. If I decide it needs to be adjusted, I can always take this part off. But let me show you how I'm gonna finish this bouquet. I'm going to lay it on its side right here. I'm going to take just some number 9 floral satin. I'm going to cut about 12 or 18 inches. And I'm going to take that floral satin and I am going to wrap it all the way around this tape where I taped this bouquet, okay? So be sure, I'm going to fold some of that tape down just a little bit. I want to cover up that tape. That's what we would consider a mechanic, and you don't want that to be seen because it's not pretty. So I'm going to take my floral satin. I'm just holding it back here with my thumb, and I'm going to wrap it around that tape as tight as I can get it. So I'm wrapping it right around as tightly as I can. Now to finish off that ribbon, I'm going to trim it just a little bit. I'm going to take this ribbon and I'm going to fold it over. And what that does is it gives us a pretty finish, a pretty edge to that ribbon, okay? And then I'm going to hold that with my thumb and I am going to grab a corsage pin. Now a corsage pin is a pearl-headed pin that we usually pin on flowers, pin on corsages. I'm going to take this pin and right here in the very center of that ribbon, I'm going to push it in. Now, I am being sure to push this pin up toward the head of the flowers. You don't want to push it down toward the stems. The stems are where the bride's going to hold the bouquet, so it's important that that point does not poke the bride, right? It's so important. So when you take that pin, push it right into those stems in an upward manner, up towards the top of those flowers. And that way, it's not going to, it won't hurt the bride. It's so important. Guys, thank you so much for being here with me today. If you have any questions about how we do bridal work, how we price out bridal work, all the things, I'm so happy to answer those questions. So if you want to, you can certainly drop a comment down in the comments below and we'll be happy to answer those questions for you. Thank you so much for being here with me. I'm gonna run outside and take a pretty picture of this bouquet so you can see what it looks like up close. And if you like this video, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. Guys, you have a wonderful day and we'll see you real soon.